Car Sales Talk 101, where it's all about life in the car business. Telling you like it is. Here's the man with the plan, Terry Cameron. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Car Sales Talk 101. I'm Terry Cameron. Thanks for hanging out with me again this week. You know, I recently had a salesperson, well, now he's a manager, call me because he just was promoted to management and wanted to bounce a few things off of me, you know, on what he should expect from his salespeople, what he should expect from himself, and what his superiors are going to expect from him. You know, and that's a tough position to be in, going from a subordinate to a leader. I mean, I remember years ago in the military, I was a young specialist, that's an E4 in the Army, and I got along with everybody. I like to party. I like to have fun. And you know, I never really got in a lot of trouble, but I was not a serious soldier. I wanted to have fun. But I guess I did a good enough job and I impressed my superiors, and I was selected for promotion to sergeant. And let me tell you, it was a shock, because all of a sudden, all of the people that I worked with and I played with and I partied with now had to answer to me. I had to lead them. You know, and being a leader in the military is a little bit different than being a leader anywhere else, because people's lives depend on your actions and how well you can lead and how well you can teach your subordinates to follow the rules. And I think that's probably where I learned structure is the key. Without structure, you have chaos. Well, back to the salesperson that called me, wanted to be a manager, or wanted to know what he should expect, and asked for a little bit of help on being a manager. I have to tell you, that's not an easy question to answer. The first thing you have to do is make sure that everybody that you worked with that were peers of yours know now that you are a manager, and if they are your friends, they're going to have to accept you as a role model and somebody that controls what they do, somebody that is superior to them in rank, and somebody that is responsible for their safety, and I guess if we want to go back to the military, the success of the mission. If you don't get those people working with you and understanding that, it's going to be tough. And there's a few things that are going to happen. Some of the people are going to be jealous. There's going to be some people that have been working at your dealership longer than you, but you were the one selected for manager. And there's a reason for that. It's because you showed, you walked the walk, you talked the talk. You didn't cause problems. There wasn't drama. You came to work on time. You did what was asked of you. You didn't question management. Well, let me rephrase that. You didn't question management beyond what was acceptable, because sometimes you do have to question your management when it comes to decisions. Not necessarily to see if it's the right thing, but at least to make sure you understand what they're saying. So that's the first thing you need to learn as a manager, and that's to be open-minded and willing to listen to your subordinates. Again, this isn't an easy thing to do. Some of the roles you need to start thinking about. You need to start thinking about how you are going to communicate with not only your peers, but your superiors and your subordinates also. That's really important. A good manager is a good communicator. I was looking up a definition for what a manager is, and I really couldn't find one that stood out and meant the same thing to me as what the dictionary says it should mean. I think, what is it? It says a manager is a person responsible for controlling or administering all or part of a company or similar organization. Now, when I'm talking about being a manager, at least in the context of this podcast, is I'm talking about a sales manager. I'm not talking about going from a sales manager to a general sales manager or a finance manager to a sales manager. I'm talking about going from a salesperson, product specialist, sales consultant, whatever you want to call yourself, to a sales manager. I do not like the word desk manager. And I hear that in several podcasts where people refer to themselves as desk managers. I just don't understand that. Who wants to manage a damn desk? Right? you're a sales manager. And my definition of a sales manager is a person that manages sales. Your responsibility is to sell cars, just from a different standpoint than what you were as a salesperson. You've got to guide the people that are working for you now, or should I say working with you. You are still their superior, but you work with them. You have to guide them. You have to lead them, and you have got to raise the bar. You weren't promoted to keep the numbers the same. Now, the problem that we have with most sales managers in the car business, and forgive me if I upset a few people, but most sales managers are trained by the sales manager sitting beside them. There is no real formal training for a sales manager, or there is formal training for a sales manager. However, we don't use it. I've had the benefit, and I was lucky, and I really do appreciate working for a dealer that believed in training and sending his salespeople and sales managers to training, especially training that represented the role that they were in. So I've got to go to and learn from a lot of people from as far as being a sales manager. I've been to general sales manager school, general manager schools, and each one of them teach you a little bit different. But most sales managers just learn from the person that was sitting there before them. Well, they just replaced that person. So they can't go in there doing the exact same thing that other person was doing, that other manager was doing. They've got to excel. So again, he asked me what he should be working on. What can he expect? And first thing, again, I said, you have to be a communicator. You have to possess great communication skills. You have to be able to make decisions. I had a very, very influential man tell me one time that anybody can make a decision, but not everybody can make a good decision. So you have to be a good decision maker. You know what? As a manager, you don't have to do everything. I have a problem. I'm ADD, and sometimes I ask, maybe tell people to do something, and before they get a chance to do it, I'm already doing it. That's not a good sign of a manager. A good manager knows how to delegate. So give some of those things that are not important. Those A, B, and C things that you need to get done, you can handle those. But those D's, E's, F's, the things that don't have to be done right now, give those to some other people working with you to handle. You have to be able to solve problems, not just the customer's problems, but your salesperson's problems, on even the dealership's problems. Again, you were put in that position to move the bar, to raise the bar, not keep it the same. And this next skill is probably one of the most important things that you can do as a manager, and that's you have to motivate. You have to be a good motivator. Now, I'm not talking about turning a complete dud into a super stud. Drive is what most people need to be motivated. All you have to do is pick up on that drive and take them to the next step. You've got to be able to motivate them. And sometimes the easiest way to motivate somebody is to not demotivate them. And that usually starts in the initial sales meeting each morning. If it's going to be a negative sales meeting, well, that's going to be demoting. The demotivator. You want to start the day in a positive, with a positive format meeting and keep it positive. Are you going to have to raise your voice sometimes? Yeah, absolutely. Are you going to have to discipline sometimes? Yes, you are. Are you going to have to write them up? You're going to have to be able to do that also. But don't jump in that management position and go gung-ho. That's where we make our mistake. All of a sudden, I'm your boss, you better listen to me. It's going to be more like, I'm your boss and I'm really going to need your help. I want you guys to think about this. If you're a manager, that doesn't make you better than anybody else. That just means that somebody higher than you thought enough about you that you could help the company grow. And the way to do that is with those skills I just mentioned. Being a good communicator, being able to make good decisions, being able to delegate authority and other issues, be able to be a problem solver, and be a motivator. They are the main skills that you need to have. And where do you get that? Well, it's pretty easy. All you got to do is go to YouTube. All you have to do is go to Amazon. There's books. There's all kinds of information out there for you. Just take a look at it, read it, and learn from it. And if you do all this, you're going to be a great sales manager. All right, guys, you know what I'm going to say. Remember, the sky's the limit. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please rate it and write a review on Apple Podcast. We appreciate your valuable feedback. You can email Terry at 10minutesalestalk@hot.rr.com. And don't forget to share the show with a friend.